Welcome to Magnet Marketers, our weekly live show where we break down the head, heart, and hand approach to building sustainable growth in your business. During each episode, we share actual client marketing best practice examples, strategies, and tactics that will help you generate real results. Our belief? A magnet always works better than being a bullhorn to attract, retain, and build your brand. Ready to dive into this week's Relationship Marketing Training Tuesday? Well, let's get started. Here's your host, Mike Gingrich and Jessica Phillips. Yay, yay, yay. You guys, hello, and welcome to the first episode of 2022. We're Magnet Marketers. Our goal is always help you become a magnet with your marketing versus being a bullhorn. And today we're kicking off the show with a bang and a very special guest, Miss Kim Garst. But before we do her very warm intro, welcome to all of you. Let us know where you're watching from, where you're tuning in from, what you're most excited about for 2022, because today we're going to be talking about the number one digital marketing shift as we're entering this year. If we've not met before, hello, my name is Jessica Phillips with Now Marketing Group and the Relationship Marketing System. My personal mission is to help you love more, give more, be more through the art of authentic relating. And my awesome co-host, now going on 7.5 years, I believe now, is Mike Gingrich. He's the president of a web development and software firm, Digital Hill Multimedia, published author 5 times over, triathlete, runner, biker, and leading business blogger at MikeGingrich.com. How's it going, Mike?
Hey, I'm doing well. And excited to be back for the new year. And looking forward to this discussion particularly. So just thank you, Kim, for being here today to kick us off.
Hey,
and
Tim.
Let me give you a little bit of an introduction, all right? Okay. In case you don't know, but many of you will know, but let me just, for those few people who don't, Kim Garst is one of the world's most retweeted people among digital marketers. She's a renowned marketing strategist, keynote speaker, international best-selling author of Will the Real You Please Stand Up, Show Up, Be Authentic, and Prosper in Social Media. Kim focuses on helping entrepreneurs grow their business using social and digital media strategies. She's recognized as a thought leader in the social media space. Forbes named her as one of the top 10 social media power influencers. She's got the blog kimgarst.com and is one of the top social media resources in the world. We're here to talk about digital marketing predictions, trends for the coming year. Welcome, Kim. Thank you for being here.
I'm super excited to be here. And I just want to say, like, the countdown timer reminders are amazing. So, you can fix your hair, you can make sure your camera's working, you can shine your nose, fix your, all the things. It's like, that's so perfect.
That's what Mike does. He's always fixing his hair right before time.
Except I'm not shining. I'm like powdering. I'm just like,
same. And I have to say, and I always take a drink too, especially out of this mug here. And this mug, it has my one of my sayings on it: "Outcarry your competition." And this was a gift from the lovely Kim Garst because she is so thoughtful and super brilliant. So everybody's in for a treat if you've not met her before. She's the real deal, people. She's the real
thank
deal.
you.
So we're excited to have you on. But Kim, we were talking before we got started here just on all these shifts and changes that are happening in digital, and it's a lot for people to keep up with. And I know there's been a lot of prediction articles and all that out there, but I love the way that you share things because you get the real you. Please stand up, as you say. Like, you share the real, relatable things that businesses need to know. So we want to pose this question to you. What do you feel like brands should focus on in 2022?
Gosh, there's so many shifts, I think, that are happening in the space. But I think if you're looking at it through the lens of, hey, Chad, I have to say hey to everybody.
Yes.
But if you're looking at it through like the lens of what the majority of businesses need to be paying attention to, I think there's different strokes for different folks, for sure. But one thing that has been on everybody's list for a bit, it's been a recurring theme, but not everybody has gotten on the wagon yet, is video. It's still a powerhouse. And I would absolutely say that if you're not doing video in a variety of forms, then you're going to be left behind at some point because it's just so powerful. Even the stats say that from a sales perspective, people make like the stats are like stunning. Like 85% of people make a buying decision based off of, a video they've seen somewhere in the ecosystem, right? So video, it works. If you're trying to grab attention, the 1 minute video model is super powerful right now, with stories and reels and YouTube shorts. Yeah. And
There you go.
I always have to picture shorts in my head, like somebody wearing shorts, to remember what the YouTube word is. I just haven't gotten it yet. But there's so much power in video, and whether you're doing live video, obviously the live video component is so powerful, I think, for the know, like, and trust factor. But there's just, it's just a recent, it's just one of those things that keeps circling on everybody's list, but there's still opportunity for sure when it comes to video. So I would say, if I had to name the one thing that we all need to be using, getting smarter with it, it would be video.
Absolutely. I think that, I mean, it just keeps evolving too, doesn't it? I mean, just, you think of different types of video, how videos evolved. Just, different lengths. You have to be aware of different things, because YouTube is a very different animal than TikTok.
That's why I love that you said different strokes for different folks too. Real quick, like during the break, like right now, or the holiday break, I should say, like my dealership called me and wanted me to trade in my lease early because there's like a shortage of used cars around, and it's like this backup. But I was like, man, do I want to do the same thing or something different? And so I started watching like videos, like the YouTube videos on like the difference between the Pilot and like a Highlander, because I didn't want to go into the dealership and have, somebody in my ear persuading me. But that, I didn't even think about it until you said like the 85% of people watching video before they make that decision. That's me, because we trust like that independent person too. But then also it takes you back to the brand where they can show the features, if they're taking advantage of it.
Yes. And, I think this is especially true for certain age brackets. Like I watch my boys who are, one's borderline millennial, one is a millennial. And all of their interaction with brands is usually through video. They're like Googling and looking and, finding things on Instagram. My youngest son loves to cook and grill specifically, but he's learned so many amazing things by watching videos on Instagram, and he's purchased things in pursuit of those recipes or ways of doing certain things because he saw a video on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I think the younger generation in particular is so driven from a buying perspective by seeing video content, and that opens up a whole other can of worms when it comes to what's happening, I think, in the social selling space. Live shopping, essentially. Huge. Like it's stunning. You go on to Amazon, for example, and you're Googling something or you're searching for something, and lo and behold, there's a video from somebody who's done a testimonial, or I love these 10 things, and one of those things that you're just searching for. So it gives it a whole other layer of credibility at that point. I have clients who are doing, their whole business model is focused on live shopping, where they have boutique stores and, they go live, once or twice or 5 times a week, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And people are physically buying their merchandise in the moment. So, and that's obviously that's video marketing at video shopping at its finest, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think I was just going to say, kind of, Kim, going back to what your son and the cooking and kind of watching videos there. I think because one of the unique things is he's kind of the same thing, kind of watching some of my children, but he's probably not watching a brand. He's watching maybe an influencer who is demonstrating that, and yes, they happen to be using this tool in that. So that's a little different part of the video mix as well, is the whose video it is, that the influencer marketing piece of video.
Yes, and that's a whole, I mean, most list, if you will, when it comes to what's trending or where the opportunities are, will also include influencer marketing because it's still so very powerful. I recently had an influencer gig, if you will, with Asus Computer. And, I did a whole experience, sharing it was basically a review, but the things that I loved about it and, showcasing that, not just from an article, which, lots of times, but I did the video too, because I felt like the video was so much more powerful because that's where people are tuning into that style of content more than reading a boring review article, right? But influencer marketing is so powerful. And when you think of influencer marketing, if you're a brand, and you're considering leveraging the power of influencer marketing, then don't think about it in the context of necessarily, people who have massive followings. Right. Because if you do, you're probably going to price yourself out of the equation. Like, we can't hire Kim Kardashian because we can't afford her. But you could hire a smaller influencer with a very connected community. Those are what I call micro influencers or nano influencers. They have, 1,000 to 5,000 in their community, and it's a very connected community, and the influence there is very deep. So those people are affordable, and their communities are more so connected to them that they're very receptive to anything that they share with them.
And even from a different perspective of just influencer, what I like to look at with clients and what I see a lot more and what I'm even paying attention to, also my kids, what they're paying attention to are these, their friends, right? Or other brands that are collaborating or co-creating, right, with another brand. So it's like, for example, I was just engaging with Sugar Wish on LinkedIn. We are a huge fan of theirs. We send out Sugar Wish gifts. We love it. And it wasn't like, hey, they're paying us to talk about them and we're paying them to talk about us. It's a mutual respect and love. And we have the same way that we show up, similar to us wanting to bring you on, Kim, and, shouting you out and wanting to highlight you. It's because you're aligned in such a way of our beliefs and who we want to serve and who we want to show up for. And we're co-creating together some helpful, hopefully, content for everyone that it's mutually beneficial. So I had a call even yesterday with a gal, Bree, that she was on the show before. And she was like, hey, how can we partner up and talk about some of the things we both believe in a way that's like, hey, let's do the promotional reels and us. It shows up then on Instagram where it's showing up on both of our profiles. We're serving and you're co-creating and collaborating. And it's still a way of influencing, if you will, because the trusted built-in community without hey, I got to pay you to talk about me, right? But building some of those opportunities in where people are so passionate about you and love your brand so much, they want to talk about you anyway. And so you find ways of connecting and making it mutually beneficial for everyone.
Definitely. And I got the same outreach from Bree. So I'm excited to see what we can come up with. But I did speaking of that, a collaboration. I have a friend who serves the network marketing space. He trains, people to grow their network marketing businesses. And he did all these crazy reels, with the big glasses and the wigs, and so we did a collaborative reel one time, and he wrote a small little script. I had my part, he had his part, and he does it quite frequently with a lot of different people, but it was so much fun, and just a gig, it's just a kind of like a spoof, if you will, and so much fun. We both had a lot of fun, and because a lot of people in his community know me, because I've spoken at a couple of his events, it had more value because there was already kind of a know, like, and trust factor.
Familiarity,
community. So I highly recommend, if you haven't considered doing that, is finding some synergy with people that are like-minded, who have served their communities similarly to you, and then Chad is the personification of collaboration and spoofing. Is that the right? I mean, he
Well,
does
kind of
something
like the ocean spray guy, right? Like if people
Yes.
are paying attention to what Chad's doing, like that would be brilliant for the airport to
Absolutely.
highlight them. So like social listening is definitely kind of a part of that, right? Like if you're talking about a
Yes.
video, like finding those opportunities and then making more of them, right?
So Chad, I have an idea for you because this
There
would
we
be
go.
perfect. You know how sometimes airlines will pick up on something that's said in social, and then they'll create an experience on the other end of the the flight. Like,
Okay.
you know, somebody said something, they're on a flight and they're like, wow, if I had a steak from blah, blah, blah. And then the airline makes sure that they get to the other end and, you know, or, you know, there's a present there. There's a whole bunch of like scenarios I've seen like that. You can make a
Yeah.
whole business around that. I'm just saying, you know, where you do the listening and then you create the experience and the exposure for that particular brand on the other side. Sorry, we kind of got, I'm an
No,
idea
hey,
person.
we're dropping
But
goods for the people. So Chad's getting some gold right here. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I gave him a business model. What can I say?
And it started with video, like creating that craveable content is like what I've heard you talking about. And these are ways of doing it and the things that go into it. Because a lot of brands say, and I'm sure you hear this a lot, Kim, is like, what do I create? I'm not comfortable
Yes.
with live video, or how do I do this? And you just shared multiple ways of doing it, collaborating with others and looking for opportunities, listening, having other people, giving them opportunities to create it for you because it's even more believable. So there's other ways of incorporating the videos into your marketing strategy.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think that there is a need going forward. It's always been there, but I want to mention it because I feel that it bears really hearing is the edutainment piece of video.
There you go.
You know, I mean, I've found that I kind of struggle with that a little bit, to be all honest, in all transparency, because you know, what's fun, you know, what would be fun? How do you create those fun experiences? I think it's easier. I personally think it's a little easier in a live environment. But I feel like it could be created as well, you know, having those moments of humor and, you know, and getting people to actually feel like they're a part of the experience in some capacity. So I think that edutainment piece is super, super powerful. One of the things I've seen when it comes to live video in particular, and I would argue that this is true for video across the board, people that do really well with video usually show up with a big personality, or at least a personality that it attracts their person to them, you know. So, but if you feel uncomfortable with that, like I said, there's lots of ways around that. There's, you know, finding somebody that can be the face of your video. I've seen a lot of brands getting to a place where they're pulling in their employees, you know, team members, you know, where and they become very well known and, you know, as a part of the brand overall. So there's ways around it. If that's not your jam, you know, if you are like, wow, I don't want to do that. Like I was that person initially and had to just get over it. But I get you. I understand.
But you're providing that solution. You know, I think not maybe not me, but we and finding
Yes,
a way. Yeah.
absolutely.
Chad says,
I
bring
like
back
that.
the blue. Said that was like a perfect example of like fun. I don't know if it was educating. It was about the people that were there, but it was a fun
Attainment
show.
part.
But the
Yeah.
edutainment, but to Chad is actually someone that we've brought in. And so whatever it looks like for a brand, though, to Kim's point, that's me too, right? Like I like sharing the knowledge bombs, but I don't often like come across like super fun and all of that. So we work with Chad, or you can find someone that can come up with some of those fun like segments, and almost like I've seen more live shows even have like a production kind of gamification kind of quality into that edutainment, and potentially finding someone else that can be like the face of that show. But you can work with others, like to your point, to help bring in those elements, and
Sure.
to make it
Yeah.
fun and give people something to want to come back for.
So there, if you're looking for maybe some examples, somebody that I think does this super well is Pat Flynn, has a YouTube channel, and every Friday he does a very entertaining, fun gamification kind of model that you could grab some ideas from. So you can go check his videos out. He does a really good job, I think, with his gamification, or I would call it edutainment a little bit too. There's lots of fun things. If you feel like you're not creative, though, definitely tapping into somebody else's creativity. You could even do that internally, like have a meetup with a team and say, we need ideas. Like, who's got a great idea? And what usually happens when you start brainstorming is you build on each other's ideas until something on the other side comes out, and it's like, that's it. That's an amazing idea. We're going to do that. So
I highly recommend that. That is the best tip ever, Kim. Like, we did that at Now Marketing Group and came up with so many ideas. And it was like, start with the bad ideas. Don't even be afraid to like share, the most audacious, crazy idea. And it ended up turning into like this really cool plan. I love that. By the way, you guys, if you're tuning in and you want a recap of these tips and links to Kim, type the word recap in the chat here, and we'll make sure that you get a recap of this blog sent into your inbox automatically. So type the word recap, and also type if you've enjoyed watching some people's shows, edutainment, what you enjoy watching, because we will make sure to include that in the recap as well. Like, I love Owen Video and watching his stuff. Pat Flynn's awesome. Kim, I love your show. I think it's fun, but it's
got its moments, So I have a question for you guys, if you don't mind. So it ties into video, but from maybe a different perspective. What is your take on this whole metaverse? And because that's got an entertainment value to it, right? Yeah. So like, I'll be honest. When Facebook renamed themselves to Meta, I'm like, what the heck? Where'd they get that? Like, did y'all think that? Until I made the connection. I didn't initially make the connection. They're putting all their eggs in the, well, let me back up for a second. Several years ago, they said that, within 5 years, all the posts on Facebook would be video related, right? That was like a big claim. Now they're putting all their eggs in this metaverse basket. So what do you think?
This is what co-create is going to be all about. Like, the whole theme for this year, honestly, is about co-creating. And that's what I look at the metaverse like personally. And I do think that there's a place for it. And I do feel that there needs to be a balance, because nothing is going to replace in-person, real people doing real things together. Relationships will always be more powerful than marketing, like I like to say. But I say that and saying, if done well, I believe that there's a huge opportunity for brands to take advantage of. For example, we work with a company called Crossroads that is just right now a land developer, and they're building a big multi-use property that is going to be like a mall, living, restaurants, hotels, the whole shebang, right? And right now it's just flat land in an area where people in the community, it's been flat land with nothing there for a long time, and people trying to imagine, and getting promises of restaurants coming in and it failing. Well, what we've done is work together to create a virtual reality environment to show what it's going to be like, and they can experience a concert that's happening there in the future, the restaurants that's happening there, go into the co-working spaces and experience it as if it already existed. Yeah. And we've gotten more buy-in from the community because they're able to just have a more senses on experience of what's there. But that's not the only thing that's being done, right? So, you have to tie it in with other aspects and other video and things like that. But that's like one use of it. We've done it with training in virtual reality to train on how to use a new tool for a company that sells like Mr. Manhole, that I think I've talked to you about on your show.
Yes.
On when they get the tool, how do they use it? Instead of working on a really $30,000 expensive piece of equipment and could maybe mess something up, you can first try it and test everything in VR. So we send a headset with the equipment and they can test it as well as some apps and some other things that are all part of the process. But the whole thing is creating a more immersive experience that you can co-create and whatever, whether it's the sales process, the ongoing, learning process, or whatever with it.
Especially if your business has any kind of like a first thing that comes to mind is like condo or apartment complexes, like, right? People are looking, they want to see floor plans. They want to walk in. Virtual
You guys all over me
turtlenecks.
today.
I like that. But, anytime you can like showcase your thing without people getting in their cars and driving to your, like car dealerships. I mean, technically, like, right? Could you test drive a car? Because you could see what people don't care about test driving the car, like not technically, like they don't getting in the car and driving around is okay. You can tell what it feels like. People want to be able to see and touch the gadgets. Like they want to
and build it. Like I
and
was able to
right.
build my Highlander before I
Right.
went and got it. I was like, I want the white one, but I want this in it, and I want
Yes.
that and that and that, and then sent like an order for him, right? And they're
Yeah.
like, okay, we got it.
So
right?
that kind of goes back to the there's value from a product perspective, being able to see, touch, so to speak, the things. So I just think the whole metaverse concept has got so many interesting layers of opportunity in there. And again, that's still kind of tied to video. Definitely has an entertainment proposition, or the opportunity for entertainment is absolutely there. So I think that's definitely an opportunity as well going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the expense of that, I'm just curious. So, because everybody always wants to know, like, is that feasible for my business? Since you've already done it, Jessica, and you've, working with clients, can the average small business owner afford it?
Yes, so how we were able to do it is we partnered with a high school. So you have to have patience because the saying, good, fast, cheap, pick two, right? Like
you get what you pay for, kind of thing.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Why are expensive things expensive? Because they're worth it.
Yeah, exactly. And so we actually worked with the high school, we still are working with a local high school, and Unity. So the professor that teaches there, shout out to Mr. Suter, but he creates in Unity. So he has a partnership with Unity and then teaches the students there. So we've given some projects to them. And so they're able to do that as part of their class. And then we're paying like a consulting fee, but incredibly affordable for that. Now, for some of the other things that go into it, like the architectural, renderings and stuff like that, that was a little pricey for them. Yeah. But depending on the project, there are so many apps out there, like literally apps to create apps that you can. We're working with another client that they are doing the virtual, showroom, so people can create and build their own type of hot tub that they want. Kind of same thing. People don't want to go in there yet. Right now, they want to, experience it, and that's just done on the phone. Same thing with virtual shopping. But there's apps already to help you build your app that you're either going to pay a subscription for, or you're going to pay, an upfront cost. But I'm talking like $500. Like it's affordable, right? Like it's not crazy. And for the return on it, you get a ton of return back on it. Now, if somebody's helping you build it, you'd have to add their cost in there. But a lot of these are very self-serving. There's how I look at it is, how can you become more immersive to allow your clients, your team, your future clients to be able to engage more with you in a way that evokes more senses, and have them to have a little bit more personalization to it. Because if they're going to talk about it, we talked about them sharing it out and being the influencer, they have to have some stake in it, in a sense. And that's a way of them having more stake in it.
And I think there's a lot of excitement around this space right now too. People are more inclined to share this because it's a different style of content. And so there's a whole other layer of getting, user generated content, essentially. Everybody always talks about that. But when somebody has an experience, I think the experience is always more story worthy than just I just walked into because the same old is the same old. Like if you go into a car dealership, and why would you tell the same story everybody else has? right? But if you have a different experience, and that was the coolest thing ever. Like, I just put on this headset? It's a whole different thing. And the stories kind of reminds me of, I know this is totally different, but concept, but even looking at it through the lens of when the Chewbacca mom did her video first, right?
100%.
Like, that was an experience that she had. She shared it, and it went crazy wild. So,
and they sold out those masks everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
after that.
They should have paid her a commission on all the sales, right?
For real.
They did.
For real. But I love this conversation, Kim, and you share so many like just value bombs on real ways that businesses can take advantage of these kinds of opportunities, and having fun with it. Like you said, edutainment in a way that makes it relatable. And it doesn't have to be all crazy and complicated. I've seen Carlos says it sounds like social media 2.0. It's actually it is social media 2.0 and web 3.0, right?
Yeah.
So
one of the things I see too, and I think this some of the things we've talked about spreads into what I'll call maybe traditional online education. So like, even we've got to a place where even education is for education's sake anymore is not cool. Like, people want to be entertained. They want to have more touch points. They want to be taught in different ways.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a space where I think the online course space is broke in several places. I feel like, people are buying these DIY courses. How many times have we done it? We all, let's just own it. We bought the expensive course. We wanted the transformation. And then, we don't do the work because we get in there and it's either overwhelming or it doesn't match up with our business model exactly. We don't have a guide. We don't have anybody to hold us accountable to, keeping the reason we purchased it in front of us. Keeping the carrot in front of us. So I think there's a lot of people who've realized that we've done it. We've bought the courses. Why buy another one? Because we're not going to do it. We know. So coming alongside of our students, I think is going to be an absolute necessity going forward. If you have a knowledge base, you're going to spend time with people, giving them. And I think it's even bigger than that. I think there's a community aspect because people are tired of trying to do things, especially now post-COVID. If you can even say we're post-COVID, I don't even think we're post-COVID because we're so in it still.
No. Yeah.
But people are so disconnected right now, and they're starving for connection. So, if you've got a knowledge base, you need to figure out how you can turn it into something that's a little more entertaining. You got to come alongside people, and then you got to give them a community of like-minded people so that they can really like embrace that learning and connection and realize they're not alone on this journey. So I think there's, like I say, I think there's a whole lot of opportunity, whether you're using video, but how can you gamify it? How can you gamify the learning process some? Otherwise, I feel like if we're course creators or we're trying to teach people a knowledge base, which I've been trying to do for years, we got to change the way we're doing things.
Boom.
I love what you said. Be the guide. Be the guide. Yeah. And I can't believe that time flies so fast. I could talk to you for another 2 hours on this.
I love this stuff, right?
Love
it.
No damn.
Love it. But Kim, and then Mike, I'll leave it to you for the last kind of finishing questions. But Kim, where can people find out more about you and stay connected with you?
Absolutely. Well, my website is obviously kimgarst.com.
Yep.
But if you would like to reach out, like have a conversation, because I'm all about the conversations, just send me a DM on Instagram. I'm Kim Garst on Instagram. I will respond with a voice message. I don't. I get to be more verbose if I get to talk to you. I'm just going to warn you. So if you don't want to talk to me, don't send me a message. No, but that's probably the best way. I love meeting people. I love connecting. So feel free to send me a message.
Beautiful. Yeah. I mean, I'm just yeah, just got a lot to think about, unpack here. This was great.
Mhm.
Starting from just we did it's just kind of like some of the advancements of video that kind of
Mhm.
evolves into VR and some of those pieces there. And then but when you said be the guide, so then I'm kind of coming back to
Mhm.
Jessica's
Mhm.
client there that's developing, this development in a whatever a field, and I'm thinking
Mhm.
of, okay, wow, like if somebody was also in there to be the guide
Mhm.
as someone's
Mhm.
entering into that
Mhm.
community, boom, just another whole
Yeah.
experience of let me show you this, let me show you this, taking them around all these kind of pieces there. So
Yeah.
and influencer marketing is already doing that in many ways. So they're
Mhm.
they're being the
They're the guide.
guide. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
some good stuff there. Just kind of
Yeah.
unpacking
And
it
it
all.
all crosses over. We
Mhm.
think about some of the movies that we've seen over the years where there's been this element of, if you call it
Mhm.
sci-fi, where there is that guide, like, you ask
Mhm.
this screen and like the guide comes
Mhm.
out and,
Yep.
points you in the right directions. Um, we have that opportunity now on
Mhm.
in a way that, is real. It's not some make-believe
Mhm.
creative thing that somebody just puts in a movie.
Yep.
So there's a lot of opportunity knocking. It's just what makes sense for your business, what's going to drive a
Yeah.
result.
And that's it.
But I really love how you articulated and connected the dots, Mike, on the guide piece, because I
Mhm.
feel like the guide is so appropriate across the board for so many
Every
aspects of our
business.
business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If somebody can be there in the moment to answer a question
Mhm.
and direct people,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah.
have a guide.
Yeah, and let your customer be the lead, right? Like
Mhm.
find out what adventure they
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to take and be there
Exactly.
to be the guide because we all want self-service and convenience until we don't.
Mhm.
Until we need somebody to help us and then we want them there. We want that guide. So I love that analogy. I love that concept. We're definitely going to unpack this in our blog, everyone. So type the word recap in the comments here if you want that sent into your inbox. Kim, you are amazing. I
Yes.
love
Wonderful.
all.
It's been so much fun. Love it, love
Oh,
it, love it. Thank you guys for having me.
thank you. Thank you for being
Thank
our
you for
first
being here.
episode of 2022. And thank all of you for
2022.
tuning in with us here today at Magnet Marketers. We'll be back here next Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure to come back and we will guide you through more on how to become a magnet versus a bullhorn with your marketing. Until then, I hope you guys all have a good rest of your week. And thanks again, Kim. Thanks, Mike.
Thank
Good
you,
seeing you
Kim.
both.
Thank you. Take care,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Happy New Year, everyone.